Throughout history, man has developed new technologies and the strategies to use them, all for the betterment of humankind. From time to time, in order to improve most of society, it becomes necessary to address some of its less than desirable niches. Once our scientists realized that the blacks had evolved into the best suited species on this planet for doing hard time, significant mine resources went into getting most of that hard time allocated to the very people on this planet who were best suited to serve it. Now that's win-win. One of the best tools for leveling the playing field between the do-gooders and the do-badders has been drug enforcement laws and the mandatory sentences that come with them. If you're dastardly enough to degrade the purity of the coca plant and its lily-white cocaine powder by selling rock on the streets of Chicago, there's no telling what you're capable of. And perhaps mandatory sentencing has tended to keep inmates on the dole longer than might be expected. However, it can't be denied that they have kept the system from being bogged down with all the gobbledygook of retrying all the over-sentenced and wrongfully accused people we pushed through the system in the first place. Case in point, Montreail Dungy. Hello, Mr. Dungy, how are you?
How you doing?
Apparently not as well as you. How'd you do it?
Do what?
Convince the state to provide you benefits for a 262-month stretch in Iowa's wonderful penal system. How are the perks on the inside?
Perks? What are you talking about, perks?
I'm talking about 3 square meals a day, all the clothing you ever need, and the loving affections of Big Twan. And Twan's way better than the teddy bear because he's always going to hug you first.
Mike, I'm in prison.
Seemingly not too appreciative of it, Mr. Dungy. I hear you're trying to get Iowa's Department of Justice to retry your case based on a few minor inconsistencies.
A few inconsistencies? Come on. The government doesn't even have evidence against me, nor any evidence in their own investigation.
Of course not! They're too busy putting darkies in prison and making money out there, enslaved asses. My goodness, is my old life acting up again, causing that doggone urban seepage. Between this and the damn skin darkening, you'd think I was some kind of African-American poster boy for crying out loud.
Honestly, you can probably use a little bit more urban seepage,
That's easy for you to say. If we had your way, you'd probably be rocking a pair of Air Wheezies with that jumpsuit of yours. What do you mean the government doesn't have any evidence against you?
Those same Iowa law enforcement agents in Montreail lied in other cases. In this key witness, this some dude, Jeremy Ottman, told the court in his own signed affidavit that those agents forced him to lie against me to save his own ass. And since then, he's taken back the whole testimony. Now what?
Unbelievable. I had no idea. By anticipating the witness would eventually take back his testimony, they knew to encourage him to lie in the first place. Each testimony perfectly canceling out the other, helping our taxpayer dollars more effectively prosecute the guilty. What a preemptive move! And that's why they get the big bucks.
But that's the whole point in the first place, man. The state shouldn't be encouraging people to lie.
Sucks to be you, huh? I tell you, this is what happens when you don't do wrong in the first place. You gotta do your dirt, then you pay what you need to in order to control your outcomes. Everybody wins. It's just business. Hey, you testify against him, we get you off of that. Bada bing, bada boo, and round we go.
Preach it, Mike! Who's that?
Oh, that's Chief Rehabilitative Officer for Prison Industries of America and Mind Puppet Bo.
Hey everybody. Now, have you guys heard about this fancy lawyer, Harvey Silverglate? Now, I don't really read books with no pictures in them, but my brother, Boehner, he's the president of Prison Industries, he told me that Silverglate fella has tried a whole bunch of cases and believes that the Department of Justice has been doing that round and round we go witness negotiations for a long time now.
Love that go-get-em attitude, don't you, Bo?
Now, in this book, 3 felonies a day, he says Americans, on average, commit 3 felonies a day without even knowing it. All because of the vagueness of the laws and the room for interpretation that the state is able to apply. Sure does help us make our numbers, because we always have more labor contracts than we can fill, so we got to be able to convict folks without criminal intent.
But the state won't even retry my case, even though they don't have any evidence against me.
Mr. Dungy, really, considering that the government doesn't have evidence against you, nor any evidence of their own investigation, actually makes the whole matter about you as suspicious as you are. Especially since common sense says that if someone is colored with guilt, he probably is.
Wow. Guilty while black.
Well, I'm glad they've at least got a name for it, because it's better being safe for us than sorry for you. You're a criminal, for God's sakes. Jeez, oh my God. That alone is enough motivation for you to steal all the evidence of your case and then methodically store it in the imaginations of the Department of Justice.
Look, drugs were found in my aunt's house on February 2001. I was found now guilty regarding all those drugs, and on top of that, my sentence was calculated on 435 grams. But the majority of those drugs were when I was the juvenile. My so-called drug conspiracy goes back from 1992 when I was 15 years old. You can't even be charged as a felon at that age, man.
Wow. Seems like you were criminally gifted from your mid-teens through your early 20s. Stereotypes can be wonderful predictors of human behavior, can't they?
Sure can.
Which again, I was found not guilty.
Well, at least you got yourself a fair trial. I mean, that's more than we give them in Louisiana.
Since when do it look like I was a cast member of the Golden Girls? And on top of that, I was sentenced under the old 100-to-1 ratio. And on top of that, I was sentenced under the old 100-to-1 ratio.
He's acting like we're running out of niggas to put in prison or something.
Bo, I believe the scientific term is Niger, and your contributions to the cleansing society of all the ne'er-do-wells is so timely. Take note, America. Mr. Dungy, would you please stand for me for a second? Now, this may be too bulbous to properly frame in camera, but I want everyone to notice the swollen hind quarters. See the swollen hind quarters, specifically designed to prevent butt callus on metal benches. I've got a lot of stock in metal benches, I'll have you know. Now, take this unique physical advantage combined with the tendency for entitlement programs, and it just encourages these people to suck on the teat of the prison industry system. Prisons are too damn comfortable these days. Everybody wants in just to get their free share of the goodies. Talking about putting in every pot, my goodness. Please, those of you who watch this video, help this man. Seriously. Mr. Dungy and so many others like him have been wrongly imprisoned and need those of us on the outside to petition the Department of Justice to stop wielding their heavy and overreaching hand in this case and so many others like it. Check out Matt Taibbi's Rolling Stone article, The Shame of Three-Strike Laws. The average American is under siege, so help us speak up against mass incarceration, which disproportionately targets black American families that have been destroyed for generations by a prison system run amok. Please, take a second and click the following link to stop this egregious and systematic buildup of the prison industrial complex in America. Help us, help you. Thanks.